we're going to be having soup and sandwich. Usually I like to use all local seasonal vegetables. However, this is right in the beginning of the end of our winter produce, all of our root vegetables, and the beginning of our summer produce. In the Northeast, this is a challenge this time of the year. So some of them are still seasonal. You know, your onions are still left over from winter time, and your potatoes and carrots, but a lot of them unfortunately are not. So you will see me using things like canned food, and frozen food. The spinach we'll be using, which is seasonal right now, but I don't have any. So we did get frozen food for that. Anyhow, I always like to start out with something to eat, because nobody just wants to sit and look at me and listen to me. So that's why I like to feed you at the same time. We're going to make hummus. And hummus, I love the sort of, I guess if I had to think about what the theme of this cooking demonstration is, it's how to use food many different ways. I hate to throw food out from my fridge. So I always have certain foods that are staples that I can use in many different ways, and that's part of what we're going to be doing today. I want to introduce a couple of very important people today. I have Ruth Leon, who is our, what do I call you?
I'm a volunteer crew person photographing for Norfolk Cable TV.
Perfect, volunteer crew person volunteering for Norfolk Television. Thank you very much, Ruth. And I have Eileen, say it, Raciobi. I've known Eileen for quite a while, but still don't know her last name. And she is my right hand and my sous chef. And again, thank you so much for all you do. And in this nice big brown piece here, if you want to send that around, that is a stock that we're going to be using for the soup today. And that's from my vegetables. I'm just cutting up the garlic a little bit. It's going in the food processor. Okay, so I've added a little bit of salt to this and a little bit more liquid. Coming out of the bottom too, huh? All right. And I love that cumin. I'm going in stronger. I'm not tasting enough. Now, I love making hummus. It is a staple in my refrigerator. And there are a couple of things I like hummus for. It's great as a dip, but I use it as a glue. And that's how we're going to use it today, in two ways. As I said, I hate to waste food, and this way I'm going to use hummus in two ways. I think we're getting there. Oh, this machine is lovely. Oh, that's good. I'm just going to do it a little bit higher, and then we're all set. Do not think you're going to get this as a dip. That is not happening today. So what we're going to do, that platter behind you, Agnes, if I could have that. This is an English cucumber, and it's a favorite one of mine to use because there are no seeds in it. So anybody that has difficulty with seeds, perfect. You can make it real pretty. I could take lines like this to go down. And I like to use it, oh, we're not using crackers, by the way. For all of you on low-carb diets, we're not using the crackers. And you can see it has a nice little edge to it. So if you want to go that extra step, be my guest. So what we're going to do is, and Eileen, I'm going to have you make these for us, if I can figure out how to get this off. Yeah, yahoo. And before we go any further, we're going to need this for our soup. We cut up carrots, a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, and red Bliss potatoes. Olive oil, salt, and pepper. Those on low-carb diets, eliminate the pepper, the potato. We have the oven at 450, and these are going in. So now we're going to make my favorite summertime dip. I'm using this as the hummus as the glue on top, and then you just dip it in the tabbouleh. So you're going to make a bunch of those, and you can pass those around for everyone. Who liked the tea that I made?
I love this.
Okay.
There's more going on.
Mint from the garden. I picked it this morning. It's already being invasive in my garden, which I love. It smells wonderful. And this is, we were talking earlier today about finding old-fashioned mint. It's not peppermint, it's not spearmint, it's not chocolate mint, it's not lemon mint. It's very old, hi Ann, old-fashioned tea, mint. So we took a couple of tea bags, dropped a bunch of mint inside, and we felt like it wasn't sweet enough. So we found this in the cabinet. I love checking cabinets. And it's an all-natural red raspberry syrup. And that was the sweetness that you tasted in the tea. And we're making up another batch now. So I'm just going to take some stuff off the counter because cleanliness is close to godliness. And I remember when I took home economics in 8th or 9th grade, oh God, did we fool around in that. But my teacher always did say, always have a clean workspace. And I really do enjoy having that. All right, so while you're enjoying that, we're going to start with the soup. Another clue of how to prevent tears when chopping onions is to keep your mouth shut. Of course, that is always a challenge for me, but we're going to try it anyhow. So I'm going to leave you there. And I like to cut the cucumbers at the diagonal like this. You get a larger area. So, and I do this instead of crackers. We try not to use too many bread products in our home. For a couple of reasons. One is my husband is allergic to soy, and most crackers on the that are sold have soy lecithin, which is a food stabilizer in it. And the second reason is I don't want to put any more weight on than I need. So I'm going to take a nice big Vidalia onion. You can use any kind of onion for this. Now we're on this soup. And this soup, I will be crying because I'm not going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to keep these guys because these are wonderful to make stock. I'm a nurse, but I work as a social worker in the social work department at a private psychiatric hospital, Westwood Lodge. There is a wonderful nurse manager there by the name of Dawn, and she made this one day for all of us to taste. And it's her grandmother was from Lithuania, 100% Lithuanian, as am I. And this is a Lithuanian soup. And what excites me about it is spinach, which is a local produce right now. And very simply, and here's my favorite tool in the world. Done? How about that? Perfect squares every time, Thelma. Thank you very much.
I figured you had to,
Easy.
the ham thing, that's wonderful.
And will you pass that around, and I'll have you, Eileen, heat up our pan with oil. Thank you.
I'll make it easy, you won't have to pass the dish. But you want to pass it to
Yes, please. The oil that I'm using today is olive oil for everything. I am a big fan of olive oil. I like the taste it emits. The only time I don't use olive oil usually is when I'm making a salad dressing or cooking, baking I mean. But I'm not a big baker. So usually olive oil is my staple. Now I did one big onion, and this will go into Look at that. Is that a beautiful thing, ladies? Did you see me cry?
No.
Not yet. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do is leeks. I am a big fan of leeks. Could I have a pan this big? Leeks are in the onion family, and they're a cold weather produce. You usually don't use the ends of it, so I'm just going to cut those off. But guess what? I will be using it for my stock. Going to use all this stuff. Say it again? These beautiful leeks I got at Whole Foods. Everything you're eating, by the way, all these vegetables are all organic. And let me tell you that your lunch today will cost you less than probably $3 a person. I know you paid $2, but it's going to cost less than $3 to make. Now, leeks grow down into the ground, so they're very, very dirty. So I'm just going to cut them in half. Can I have cold water in that? And 2/3 up. I'm just going to cut these, simply cut them. Most people don't like the greens. I don't mind the green part. We can use it well for this. And this gives nice flavor. It's a sweeter taste than an onion. And I never really used leeks until a few years ago, and now I'm a big fan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse them in the water. If I just ran it under the faucet, I might not get what's in the middle. These are pretty clean leeks, but now they're even cleaner. And if you keep doing this, any dirt that you have will fall to the bottom. Those look nice and clean. And I'm going to take, because I'm going to put it in hot oil, I'm going to just dry them off in a towel, kitchen towel. That smells a little warm. Is it getting there? Okay, we can put our onions in. We're all set. Oh, are we really? There you go. And I put in probably about 2 or 3 tablespoons of hot oil, to get nice and hot. Spilled that over, but that's okay. We'll add it together. I'm doing the onion first because I'm going to use it for both recipes, both for the Tina loaf and for the spinach soup. For my mushrooms to go in there, and I'm going to check on my potatoes and carrots, looking good. And we're stirring our leeks, which are beginning to look yummy. This is as high as we can go? Nope. Okay, let's get up high. And as soon as those mushrooms are in, they go here. I like to make my Tina loaf. By the way, any recipe that I totally made up, of course, always has the word Tina in it. I love this recipe. It reminds me of when I was a kid growing up, meatloaf. My stepmother, Belle, always made the meatloaf the same way, overcooked and dry, and it's my favorite way of having meatloaf. And this reminds me of it a little bit. I'm not a fan of a mushy or a wet meatloaf. We use Tina loaf. It's probably, I would think, Janice, where's Janice? Every time you open my refrigerator door, how often is Tina loaf in that fridge, percentage-wise? 88% of the time. It's a staple in our house instead of bacon. We use it in a sandwich, which we're going to have today. I like to do it with noodles and onions and mushrooms, and you could add tomato sauce to it to make a American chop suey. But there are many ways that I use it, and my husband tends to like it cold out of the fridge. the question is that in the cookbook? I don't know. I can't remember if Tina loaf is in the cookbook. I think it is. It might be under balls of Tina, because I used to make it as a meatball. So, yeah. Thank you for mentioning my cookbook. That was a fun project. I had decided to finally do a cookbook. Yes, I have the recipes there for everyone, by the way, for the Tina loaf and the soup. All right, I'm done with these mushrooms for now. And I'm going to add these into the Tina loaf and some of the nice juices from that. Thank you, Eileen. And last and not least, now you didn't see me put any salt in here. I'm going to add a little pepper because I am a fan of pepper. No salt because we're putting in feta cheese. So this is about a cup. Aren't these cute? Yeah. Remember when we used to have silver knives, ladies and gentlemen? I love how they come in different colors and you can find them when you need them. In you go. So this will be in my refrigerator for about, maybe 4 days, and then I'll make another one. But we usually eat it all up. It can last up to a week, because don't forget, there's no animal product in here. There's plenty of oil in this as is. It looks green because it's the garden variety. The other ones are more brown, but I think you'll like the taste. Looks like it has a lot of spinach in it. Going right into the oven. Okay, so now we're ready to start the soup. And we have the onions and the leeks are in our soup pot cooking away. And we're going to add stock. I'm going to add a handful of rice. That's all I'm going to add, maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons of rice. And that's going to thicken. The kind that I took from the pantry without looking. This is arborio. Thelma asked what kind of rice. You can use any kind of rice you have. I'm just doing a nice big tablespoon or ladle spoon of rice for that. And that will cook in with the soup, and it will just add a little bit of thickness to the soup. You noticed we have our potatoes and carrots all cooked over here. I don't have something hot to pick it up. And you could add them fresh, uncooked, into your soup, but then you get a mushy vegetable, and it's filled with a lot of liquid, and it doesn't have a lot of taste. I think that roasting adds a different, these are beautiful. Perfect. It still has a little crunch to it. I am not a fan of the mushy vegetable. So in the end, we will add that. And I have 2 bags of spinach. One is cut leaf, so it's chopped, and the other is sort of whole leaf. And that's going to go into our soup. Soups should not be cooked for long. Stock should be cooked for a long time. So, it's not from my garden. That's frozen spinach right now.
I know, but I wondered if you did it.
I do, although this year I'm actually letting my gardens go fallow. I am not going to garden in my vegetable garden this year. I'm working on my soil. But instead I'm going to be a consultant. I'm consulting at Dedham Correctional Institute, and they are going to start a garden there. And they're going to be making food for Father Bill's food pantry in Quincy. Now I have not put any salt into this soup at all. And I'm going to of course put pepper in. And did you notice how carefully I measure anything? I really don't measure much. That's probably why I'm not a great baker. But I keep adding a little bit at a time and then tasting. So I think it's important to always taste what you're making. It's going to need a little salt. Is there anybody that's salt sensitive? Because I can leave it to the side. Ruth? Okay. Could we put some in a separate bowl for Ruth? And I did not use cumin in this, ladies. Just so you'll be pleased, there'll be one thing without cumin today.
Why? Is there any reason why
I don't think it would work in it.
you don't normally put it in a soup?
No. Oh yeah, there were certain soups I use cumin in, but not in this one. No. All right, so I think we're about ready to put in our vegetables. And I'm going to let you continue to do that for me. And the next piece is we're going to make a panini without a panini machine. This is something that my next door neighbor Janice loves to come over for lunch for. Or actually anything I make. You're one of the best, Janice. You will eat anything that I make. I appreciate that.
So if you want to invite me.
Okay, come on over. Now, this is a multi-grain flour tortilla. And this one is a corn wheat tortilla. And they're both around 17 grams of carb, 5 of protein, and dietary fiber in the corn one is 14. So that eliminates the carbs for you. And this one is 15 carbs, 7 fiber. So it's only 7 grams, and that's for a whole piece. These are all organic. Yes, you want an organic corn because corn is so dehydrogenized. It's GMO, genetically modified, that it actually is one of the foods that puts weight on. Who wants to put weight on? No hands? So corn is one that you try to not use too often. And this one is multi-grain. This is whole wheat flour, oat fiber. It does have wheat gluten, flaxseed. It does have soybean oil. This one is not for you, Andy. Millet, barley, and quinoa. So it's got a lot of different grains, and that's really why the carbs are so low on it.
Another thing.
Right now I am waiting for the soup is just about ready, I think, to be eaten, except the finishing touch. Cream. And I'm not using a heck of a lot of cream. Just enough to give it that sort of silky taste. I only had about a half in this, and maybe I'm using a quarter. Let's see how that tastes. Let's get some spoons for you and I to taste. Oh, I found one. I think we need salt, though. Little salt. And then we're about ready to begin course number 1. I'm going to take another one just to see. I just want to taste it for wellness. Yeah, if you want more salt, there's salt on the table. I'm done with it. Good. We're going to let the veggie burger Tina loaf keep cooking, and we're going to start on our first course. Welcome back, ladies. I hope you enjoyed soup. Or I think it's more like Lithuanian stew. Didn't you feel like that was a meal in a bowl? As you can see here, I took the Tina loaf out of the oven, and it was just perfectly made, so you can make it while you're eating your soup. It is an odd color because it's the garden vegetable variety, but it's going to be in a panini. You're not going to see it. I have a couple here that I just started, and this is my fake panini. So if you don't have a panini maker, this way you can make your own. And what I do is I take a simple flat bread, and I'm going to use, so that we don't waste, thank you, Janice, any of the food in our refrigerator. I'm taking the hummus that we had for our appetizer, and I'm putting it on half of the flatbread. And I'm going to take some of the tahini to give us a little texture, and I'm going to put that down. And then I'm going to take some of the Tina loaf and put that on top.
That was tabbouleh, right?
That was tabbouleh, yes. What did I say?
Tahini.
Tahini, thank you. That's right, thank you, tabbouleh. And I'm just going to roll this sort of tightly, and I'm going to put it seam down. And just like on TV, voila, it's cooked. And here you go. Here's one.
Did you put any kind of oil in it?
Nothing. No oil.
I didn't think so.
No oil. And there you have, and of course you need something green. And there you have your homemade panini.
Oh, wonderful.
All right. So I'm going to make these along with my sous chef, Eileen, and have those for you. The question was, how do you get my cookbook? It's called Good Food for Everyone. You can get it on Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble, but they charge $10 more than I do. So you talk to me.
You should be selling it at the garden club fair.
And
Should be at the garden club.
thank you, ladies, for being my press agents. And the money that I make from it, the profits, go to food pantry. So when I'll be speaking down in Attleboro next month, and they are going to purchase books from me. Then it goes to a local food pantry down there. So here it goes to our Norfolk food pantry that services about 30 families in town.
You spoke in Falmouth.
I'm smoking?
No, I said you spoke in Falmouth and it went to the Falmouth food
Yes,
pantry.
that was fun, yep. So I've got these going. The only thing is to make sure they don't burn. I'm gonna let you cut in half. And some of these I did with the corn tortilla, so you can sort of check and see which ones you like best. I don't put any oil in here. I never find that I need it, but I do use a Teflon pan. So if ever you need a quick and easy way of making a really unique lunch, this is it. Again, the hummus is really like a paste for me. It will keep everything together for me.
Are the hummus and tabbouleh recipes in your cookbook?
The hummus it's called, I make it a little bit differently, and it's made with roasted garlic. And it's called Houston Hummus. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed lunch, and keep enjoying good food. Bye for now. Good morning. My name is Tina Addison, and this is Eileen Rassiopi, who is my sous chef. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here at the Norfolk Senior